Pulitzer?
Express.
It looks
So,
like Lily.
yeah. Mm. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Really happy to have you here tonight. I am Kristen Orlando, even though it says Tony on my thing, with DEXA Plus, and I am super excited to have Lori Werner from Medical Marketing Wiz and LEMD joining us, and she's going to be doing a presentation. And Abby and Jason Blonshine from Meditech in Lansing, and they actually have experience utilizing the LEMD peptides. And we have Tom Urbowski from MetPro, and he's going to talk about the nutrition aspect of it and why it's so important to integrate that as well with the GLP-1s. So, Lori, if you want to get started, I'll let you kick it off and you can take it away.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, again, thanks for inviting me tonight to talk about peptides. This is such a hot topic. In the marketing world, we work with functional and integrative focused providers, including Evie and Jason from Meditech. And we partner with DEXA on many of their clinics that are launching a DEXA-based business. And peptides incorporate so well with many of these services. The challenge is that there are compliance things, there are sourcing concerns, and just things that you have to do to vet out the proper pharmacy to make sure that if you are offering peptides, that you're doing it in a way that is compliant and efficacious for your patients. And so we are going to be talking about a telehealth partnership that can plug into any business. It could be a business where you are a prescriber right now. So maybe you're able to offer peptides right now, but maybe there are some limitations to that. Or you also could be a non-prescriber. So you could be someone that owns a diagnostic center, or you own a wellness center, or you're a health coach. And so we're going to talk about a compliant way that you can incorporate peptides without overhead and liability through this telehealth partnership. So again, we're going to talk first on like, how does this work? We're also going to talk about the pharmacy and where this pharmacy is in terms of where they do the compounding as well as where the raw materials come from, because that is something really important. Many patients start looking up not only the GLP-1s, but other peptides like BPC 157, tesamorelin, GHKCU, and they're getting these from places that are black market and gray market, and patients can get very sick from that. And so knowing where these peptides come from is super important. We'll also talk kind of just about the health assessment process through the platform, as well as marketing, because at the end of the day, right, any new service you bring in, whether it's DEXA, whether it's nutrition, whether it's peptides, you want to have a plan to successfully launch this to your community. And so we'll talk about some tips on that. And then Tom from MetPro is also going to talk a little bit about the nutrition side of things, right? Because we know that when you are incorporating peptides into your wellness journey, you want to provide your patients with nutrition support and some of the things that you should consider and talk to them about. And then lastly, we're going to go over just if this is something you want to explore and you want to learn more about, we'll talk about what that looks like. So getting into it, I did want to just touch on, and many of you guys know what a peptide is, but I wanted to throw this up here because patients are still a lot of times really confused. What is a peptide? Is it something that, I've got to be on forever? Is this a steroid? Is this a medication? What actually is it? And peptides, as you know, are simply short chains of amino acids that act like biological messengers in the body. And the best way I like to explain this is, your body has been making GLP-1s, your gut produces BPC 157, but just as you get older, the amount that you're able to produce on your own tends to decline. And this is why people have a harder time losing weight. I know for me, I'm going to be hitting 50 here in a couple of months, and your body in middle age as a woman just comes to a complete screeching halt despite doing all the things that you're supposed to do. And so these peptides can be a really good solution for those patients. And so, still a lot of education that is needed about peptides, and it's just becoming more mainstream. So, another thing that I think is really important to explain to patients is that peptides are not something that is new. In fact, peptides have over 100 years of science behind them. The first peptide that was discovered was in the 1920s, and it is insulin, right? And we know that many patients rely on insulin to lead a healthy lifestyle, and especially if they have type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Collagen is another peptide. And so before this was really trendy and putting it in your coffee and everything, people were using these in the medical field to help with healing. And so, what has kind of shifted in the last few years is this just becoming much more mainstream. Previously, we've got these celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Gwyneth Paltrow and Hugh Jackman and Joe Rogan. These folks are all finally admitting that they have been using peptides for years, but it was kind of restricted to these, the celebrities, and now it is mainstream. And so even my son, who is 19 years old, he's a student at Michigan State University. He knows all about peptides. They're all in his TikTok. And he's like, Mom, I can't believe you know about this. And it is. It's for middle-aged people. The younger people are hearing about it as well. And so the demand is there. In terms of marketing, peptides are actually the number one search term in healthcare right now for search engine optimization. And so, again, this is something that can grow all of the other services that you offer because you're able to capitalize on that search traffic when patients are looking in your area. This is projected to exceed 200 billion by 2030, and it's driven by the GLP-1s, but more and more we're now learning about some of these other longevity, brain health peptides, gut health peptides. And so what this telehealth model that we're going to talk to you about today, it enables you to participate in offering peptides without the burden of the prescribing, the overhead, the compliance, and the liability. And so I like to think of this in a couple of different buckets, right? So you have some folks that own a wellness focused business where they're not necessarily a prescriber. And so they need to have a medical director. They've also got to think about the DEA and buying all the peptides. In fact, it was interesting. Last month, one of our marketing clients was having trouble with their credit card and our marketing payment going through. And so I had reached out to her to get a new payment method. And she was like, I am so sorry, Lori. I had to put $33,000 of peptides on my credit card this month. And that's why they didn't allow the marketing payment. And I'm like, my jaw about hit the floor, like $33,000 on peptides. And then you're worrying about there's a certain shelf life for those. And you've got to make sure that the patients end up, coming in regularly and using them. And then you've got the insurance side of it. So there is, when you really think about it, many times when people add up how much extra staffing and just infrastructure that needs to be in place to make money on these, it is something that can be somewhat limiting. In addition to that, the whole telehealth, right? Many, many patients want telehealth. We saw this big shift during COVID. I will say again, even me, myself, when I go to a functional medicine doctor, I get my labs drawn 4 times a year so that they kind of know what my levels are. But I don't need to go to the office. Like, I would rather just get on a telehealth visit, have them go over my results with me, and maybe I come in a couple times a year if I'm getting, my DEXA or something like that. But that telehealth really allows convenience for you to target those busy professional people that are getting their doctor's appointments and their wellness appointments in between their busy days at work. And so this is also a way to capitalize on that telehealth demand and being able to offer patients ship to home peptides. So there are kind of 2 different ways to offer this in your business, and not everybody does it the same way. And I'm going to go through how the model works. But before I do that, I want you to kind of think about a different hat that maybe you wear. If you are a non-prescriber, so a chiropractor, a naturopathic doctor, a med spa owner, a health coach, a gym owner, or a DEXA-based business, This allows you to be able to offer peptides that are medically supervised by MDs and DOs, and you don't have to have a prescribing license to be able to offer them because LEMD is actually going to handle the overhead liability, shipping, compliance, and everything on their end. We also have a lot of providers that we work with that are prescribers. So they're MDs, DOs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants that could technically offer peptides, and maybe they already are offering peptides in their clinics. I think many folks are obviously using GLP-1s and offering GLP-1s, but maybe not the other peptides. This allows you to implement this in a lot of different ways. So if this makes sense, and again, I'm going to go through the logistics of it, you don't have to necessarily stop doing what you're doing with your current peptide program. This can be something that allows you to expand to all 50 states. So, for example, you can probably tell based on my accent, I live in Michigan. Well, half of my state goes to Florida, at least those of us in the middle age, half of the year because it's freezing cold here. And now I can actually get my peptides when I'm in Florida 50% of the year. So it allows you to be able to ship to wherever those patients are. It also removes all of that overhead liability and compliance burden that we talked about. And you can, again, use this alongside what you're already doing. Or if you're like, hey, this makes perfect sense. This is the way I'm going to do peptides. This is way easier than spending $33,000 on peptides in a month. You also can replace your existing program. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I did also mention this, and this is, I think, really important and why we've got some special guests on tonight and talking about how this can also expand some of the other things that you offer. So when patients start a peptide program, what happens is they become more engaged in their health overall. They start feeling better. Their bloating goes down. Their systemic inflammation goes down. Their skin starts looking better. They lose weight. And they end up really starting to invest in other things. So we have seen offices that offer aesthetics. Patients lose weight. Now all of a sudden, their skin tightening treatments start taking off. The DEXA, again, huge advantage because now you're able to offer patients a very objective analysis of how they're doing. You know, are they seeing changes in their body composition? Are they reducing visceral fat? Are they losing muscle? Are they gaining muscle? Maybe they're on Samorelin or one of these other peptides. And so what you will see is you can bundle this in to other programs like DEXA, gut health testing, hormones and lab work, and all of these things work really well together. So just think of it as versus, it's a very low cost way to add additional services and capitalize on the online search traffic, but also expanding many of the other things that you offer. And so the company partnership is with a company called LEMD. And as I mentioned, this is a done-for-you ship-to-home peptide program that is licensed in all 50 states. Now, the beauty of this is the LEMD providers are basically just managing the prescription and the shipping directly to the patient. They're not meddling in your patient and your client relationship. So you still have your patient, you're still doing all the things with that patient. You just sort of, if you are a prescriber, have to take your prescriber hat off. And your language is we offer a medically supervised ship to home peptide program. And in all honesty, in many ways, it helps the patient actually be able to get peptides a little bit less expensive as well, because much of that overhead is eliminated. But you're earning between a 20 and 40% commission on every peptide that comes through your clinic or from your office, including your own. So we have many people that, they like to get peptides themselves and they actually make a commission back on their own order. You can enroll as a brand partner as an individual or a business. So somebody that's an individual health coach could sign up and be a brand partner that way. Or if you have a business, you can also enroll. So again, fits, even gyms, those are also great places to offer this partnership. The four main categories of peptides that they offer are obviously your GLP-1, so your weight management. as well as microdosing. And this I also think is a huge opportunity. I had a call 2 days ago. Well, actually, no, I guess it was yesterday, with a med spa. And they were telling me that they have a very successful GLP-1 program, but everybody quits after 3 months. So they have to replace their clients every 3 months. And one of the things that I was explaining to him is you're really missing the boat because people need to understand the benefits of microdosing. And I'll show you actually my personal results on microdosing in a minute. But if you have a weight management program, again, the microdosing can be a really great opportunity for you to continue to help patients with the other health benefits of the GLP specifically. Longevity and wellness peptides, we'll talk about those, sexual health peptides, as well as skin health peptides. So this is a list as of today, all of the peptides that they offer. So many of the most popular ones, Clo is one of the new ones. So that's a combination of 4 different peptides. NAD, super popular. The tesamorelin, the BPC 157, methylene blue, thymosin alpha 1, MOTS. DSIP is delta sleep inducing peptide. CMAX and Selank, sexual health, skincare, and then they also do have a protein. And they are adding, I heard actually yesterday, I think 26 new peptides before the end of the year. So many people will ask us, well, what about retatrutide? Well, retatrutide as of today is currently not yet completely approved. They are only working in medical grade peptides. So any of them that are still considered research grade are not part of this, but as soon as they become medical grade, they are added. So I know that that one is definitely coming. They did also add hormone therapy. So that is something new as well. So for the GLP-1s, again, most folks know GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide. The GLP-GIP is going to be the tirzepatide. That's going to be the dual action. And for weight loss, they do have a 25 BMI requirement. And again, available in all 50 states, no membership, no hidden fees or anything for the patient. Microdosing. So this is actually my before and after. So I have been microdosing actually since January of last year, so about a year and a half. And this, to me, I understand all of the other health benefits of microdosing, which is why I choose to stay on it. I hit my goal weight over a year ago, but I can tell a huge difference when I'm microdosing and when I am not. So you'll see patients that will learn about the benefits of reduced systemic inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, hormone balance support, turning off that food noise, and sleep and energy improvements. And so that is also another opportunity. If, let's say, you've got a great weight loss program, and many of those patients, maybe you can get approved by insurance. And let's be honest, they're not always going to get improved by insurance once they hit their goals. And so you have a step down option now for them with the microdosing. So this has been a huge success at many of the practices that we work with. They do also offer both an injectable as well as an oral formulation. I'm personally not a huge fan of the oral formulation, but it's nice that they have it as an option because some people are just completely scared of needles. They are coming out in July with a peptide pen as well. So for people that like that pen, that will also be available. And then obviously the syringes. All of the patients get to customize their dose. So every single order is customized for that specific patient's BMI and the health intake form that they complete. The patient will choose what additive they want. There's no extra charge. So for me, for the GLP, GIP microdosing, I added B12. My husband added glycine because he wanted the muscle preservation. So that is something that allows them to customize it specifically for each patient. And the pricing is very affordable. So the GLP microdosing is $239 a month. So again, like I've had people, even the insurance is going to be more than $239 a month. And so they end up just going with this as an option. The weight loss starts at $299. The weight loss is a sliding scale depending on what dose they're on. If you have people that are already on a GLP-1 and you want to switch them over to the ship to home model, they can just upload their current prescription from you and LEMD will start them at that. So they don't have to start all over with the lowest dose. So they are really good at working with you if you do want to switch people over. NAD is another Really great one. I personally do the NAD injection. I've been doing that for about a year. Really great. I have a stressful job. I own a marketing agency. I've got 26 people that work for me. I've got many clients that we're managing. And as you get older, it's harder to, I think, keep up with just the daily stressors of life. And so NAD is super popular. They have it available in an injection as well as a nasal spray. And then this is another one of my personal favorites, BPC 157 TB 500. So we see a huge success in this with folks that are focusing on gut health. Obviously, it's a big player in that space, but then also physical therapists, folks that are helping with recovery. So this is actually a very close friend of mine, Mary. She is a superwoman. She's also going to be 50 this year. She's ran multiple Ironmans. And in one of her Ironman, she actually had a glute to hamstring detachment, went through physical therapy, dry needling, foam rolling, hot plunges, cold plunges, the whole kit and caboodle, and really didn't see a huge improvement until she started the BPC 157. And so that's something that she always raves about. My mom actually has been doing the oral version of the BPC 157. My mom is 76 years old and she has canceled her hip surgery because her hip does not hurt anymore. So it really is a remarkable peptide. Tesamorelin, ipamorelin. This is also very popular. And we have kind of a man example here. This is actually John, Mary's husband. So John is also, I think he's 49 this year. So we're all getting to that middle age kind of, beer belly that folks just, pop up. But he did 2 months of the tesamorelin and you can see an amazing transformation. Also, one of the things that he reported with this was chronic neck pain that he had literally had for 20 some years, completely resolved, as well as improvements in sleep. So, this is a very popular peptide that stimulates the body to produce its own growth hormone. So, it helps with fat metabolism, muscle recovery, and visceral fat. So with that, I actually want to bring on Jason and Abby Blondshine. They are the owners of Meditech. So they are a DEXA-based business in Mason, Michigan, and they have brought on peptides into their business earlier this year. And Jason actually has a pretty amazing transformation, and he was going to share a little bit about his DEXA results.
Oh, those pictures. No, I'm Jason. Yeah, I'm a respiratory therapist, pulmonary function technologist. And we really utilize DEXA, VO2 max testing and metabolic rate testing to help people, whether it's reach weight loss goals or their health and wellness journey, longevity. Peptides just really fit nicely into that. And also it gave us access to peptides as well. So we're some of those people that also buy our own. I tried a tesamorelin, ipamorelin for 2 months as well. And if you're looking at the DEXA, you can kind of say I didn't really change any of my other habits. I, still kind of work out 3 to 4 days a week and the other walking and things that I normally do. I didn't change my diet, but I had a really big lean mass gain during that 8 weeks. Went from 158.52 up to 166.9. I was actually shocked by it. I figured I'd get some of that, but I didn't expect that kind of change over that time. And then my visceral dropped about a little less than 30 points, so from 92.7, which is just under that 100. You really want your area somewhere under 100 to eliminate any risk. And it went down to 68.9, which was just phenomenal for me. So it really helped me achieve some lean mass gains that I've been struggling to get through that time. And I think the one thing that was reported on John's slide that I really, really noticed I didn't expect quite as much as the sleep. The impact on my sleep was really profound. I went from, by middle age, I just kind of started waking up a couple times a night. Maybe I had to go to the bathroom. Maybe I was just sore and needed to move a few times. And I started taking this at a couple weeks in. I noticed that I was waking up to Abby waking me up because the alarm was going off and nothing else. I would sleep through the entire night. And it was great. I was rested. I was recovered. And I think something else that this doesn't show that actually after this, I did do a CRP reactive protein test, which checks your inflammation in your body. And mine was down to 0.22, which is really, really low. It's kind of normal is 1 to 3. And so overall, my inflammation in my body had dropped a lot as well.
Yeah, this is, I mean, you can even really see, I think, in the DEXA itself, like in this area,
Yeah.
a really big difference. And what I love about this too is it is that objective measurement, right? We all look at ourselves in the mirror and maybe we see some changes, but we see ourselves every single day. And so having a DEXA to be able to couple with peptides, not just the GLP-1s, but things like the tesamorelin, ipamorelin, I think it just can bring so much more value to your clients. And it's something that they can't get from, hims and hers and all of these online sort of places that have popped up in the last few years. So again, I think just coupling it with what you guys are doing with the DEXA is really smart.
Yeah, and that was a really big deal for us because, like you said in the beginning, I didn't want to take on the overhead or the inventory or all of the other, structure that you need around it to be able to offer them. So having something like LAMD was just a really easy choice.
And it's
Cool.
really easy and simple to walk through as a patient as well. And you get them pretty fast. I mean, I think we get ours in like 3 to 5 days,
Yep.
usually.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. I know you're busy, so we appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of the other popular peptides, and then we're going to have Tom come on and talk about the nutrition, and then we'll also talk at the end just about how you get started. So Clo is another new one that is great because it's a combination of four very popular peptides. I'm personally super excited to switch to this once I run out of my GHKCU that I take. So this is a combination of BPC 157, TB 500, GHKCU, and KPV all in one stack. So that's really nice, again, for patient convenience as well as, cost. PT 141, another super popular peptide for both men and women. Again, in midlife, people don't talk about it. I think men talk about it maybe a little more than women, but sexual health also takes a hit. And especially women, they haven't had a lot of options other than if they can get on hormone therapy. But this PT 141, the new one that they came out with is a nasal spray. And it is really great for both men and women. And here's a little testimonial just from a menopausal patient that talked about what a difference it made for her. So I'm going to hand it over to Tom real quick. And then once Tom is done, we'll kind of talk about kind of the patient journey and what it looks like to partner with LEMD through DEXA.
Awesome. Thank you, Lori. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic. It is so wonderful to hear all that. There's such a synergy between what we do at MedPro and the nutrition and fitness side with peptides. My wife is a nurse practitioner, had experience in the med spa space, seen what like NAD plus and all the different peptides can do, and to see the complications of having a business and trying to not have something like LEMD. So it's really wonderful to see that. On the MedPro side, what we do, we provide custom nutrition and wellness coaching, really focusing in on the nutrition. And we've done this for over a decade, working with executives, endurance athletes, working with busy moms. We did this long before peptides were in vogue with like the Hugh Jackman and the different folks you mentioned. And what we've done is now partnered with wellness partners who are offering peptides or other modalities. We're all going in the same direction, and we're reaching those people who are more mindful about their wellness. They are thinking about, hey, what can I do for skincare? What can I do for aesthetics? What can I do for longevity? Right, the biohackers, and they're experiencing one thing and it's translating into other. So that's where people are finding they're missing a strategy. Somebody comes into an office, maybe if you've got a chiropractic clinic or physical therapy, or you've got a med spa. They come in and they might have some ideas about what they want to do. They get a DEXA scan or they have some other service, but they go, I don't really have a strategy. That's where we come in. MedPro doesn't tell people, hey, log what you ate in MyFitnessPal and we'll kind of give you a cookie cutter plan. Not at all. What MedPro does is we tell you a bite for bite meal plan on what to do. So we give very precise strategic guidance. And those photos you were showing, Lori, of the before and after, the runners, that's our clientele. Those are the people we work with. They're endurance athletes. They're doing the Ironman competitions. They're triathletes, or they're busy traveling, but they're mindful about their wellness. So we've been doing this again for a decade. What we offer for all of our wellness partners is two things. Number one, and this is no cost to you and no cost to your clients or your patients, whether you're prescribing or you're not prescribing. Everybody that you send to us, you say, you know what? They need a strategy for their nutrition. Number one, we're going to give them a metabolic assessment. It's online. It's going to ask some questions about their goals, lifestyle. And then at the end of that, they're invited to book a consultation, a strategy session with one of our coaches. Now, we're a completely remote company, and that gives us the strategic advantage of hiring registered dietitians, fitness nutrition experts, competitive athletes who have all these letters after
Okay.
their name.
Thank you. Of course. Okay.
They're taking food and drink orders in your car.
So we hire these people from all over the country. And so what we do when somebody comes in and they have an assessment, they go, postmenopausal woman, or maybe it's a 27-year-old who's competing for the CrossFit Games. We will match them to a coach based on their interest. Maybe they're using GLP-1s, maybe they're not. Maybe they're interested in a DEXA scan, whatever it might be. We are going to support those modalities and build a strategy around their nutrition that complements what they're doing. And they get that consultation. It's like a 45-minute consultation, no cost to them, no cost to you. Now, here's the great part about that. If you sign up as a partner, you get a custom landing page. We've got all sorts of resources. It's no lift. We've done all the heavy lifting. We've partnered with lots and lots of people. Streamline this. We'll give you the social media posts you might need, email templates, any in-office materials, website, whatever you've got. Because all you need to do is send people to us. And here's the best part, or two great parts. I'll say that. Number one, could you go to the next slide? I think there's one more. Oh, no, go back one, Lori. Thank you. Two good things happen. Number one, when somebody comes and works with one of our coaches, they sign up for that consultation. They say, hey, I'm on these peptides. I'm using these GLP-1s. I want to do NAD plus. What do you think about that? Oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. Oh, I want to go, I want to run in a 5K. And, what do you think? We're going to have that engaged conversation. And one of two things is going to happen. One, they're going to say, man, that was amazing. I learned a ton. I got some great tips, tricks, strategies. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I got to talk to you. Or they're going to say, man, that was amazing. Can I hire you as my coach? And if they say that, and they want to hire MetPro, one of these, registered fitness nutrition expert people to be their coach, then what we do is we share a commission back with you. And so we are writing checks to our partners every month for thousands and thousands of dollars because they're sending people to us. We're educating their patients. We're answering their questions. We're talking about their peptides, whatever modalities they're using. We're talking about their nutrition. And then when they work with us, guess what we do? We say, hey, where did you get your peptides from? You need to go back to your office. You need to go back to your chiropractor. You need to go back to your med spa. You need to go check on that. You need to go get another DEXA scan. So we're sending people back to you. So it becomes a recurring marketing channel on your behalf. So anyway, at the end of this, there's a link. It's very simple to sign up. If you want to learn more, you can email me. I'm Tom, Tom, at metpro.co. That's MET, like metabolic profiling, CO. Or at the end of this presentation, there's a link for DEXA Wellness Partners. And that link is going to be at the end. So thanks, Lori, for giving me the time. I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think anything that you can do to add value to this it differentiates you, right? We're always looking for how can we differentiate ourselves from everybody else that out there that is just doing, online, and you never really actually get to talk to a person. And so this is a great adjunct to that. So I appreciate you sharing that. So as we wrap, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add to that, what's really important about incorporating the nutrition and the exercise is GLP-1s from that standpoint are not the magic pill. And by incorporating that nutrition and that exercise, people are going to make sure that they stay on it, and you're going to see better patient outcomes, which is so key.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. We have a lot of our clients are in GLP-1s, and there is that level of accountability because they're working with a coach. There's a plan, there's a strategy, and so they get better results. That's why people that are on peptides, they love working with us because they actually get better outcomes for whatever their goal might be, whether it's weight loss, endurance, muscle build, whatever it might be. And there's a massive audience. I'm so glad you said that, Lori. It's a differentiator because in your local market or wherever market you're serving with, LEMD or you're using MetPro, now you've got something different than somebody down the street. Now you
Exactly.
can offer, and there are people who are interested in nutrition coaching. Guess what? With MetPro, you get that. There are people interested in peptides. Guess what? Now you get that. And so having that differentiator is definitely an advantage in a market.
100%. Yes, I love it. And again, the nutrition is the biggest piece of the pie, right? Because you don't want to go on GLP-1s and not make those lifestyle changes. So, or any of the peptides, honestly, right? So real quick, just pivoting into sourcing. So this is another thing, again, I hear from many, many providers when they're doing their own peptide program, do you really have time to go vet out all these pharmacies? The nice thing about the partnership with LEMD is these are medically supervised, so they are all above board, all medical grade peptides. They are compounded in Texas at a 503A certified compounding pharmacy called Clover. Not only that, all of the raw materials of these peptides sourced through LEMD are 100% made in the United States. Many of these peptides companies are compounded in the US, but they're actually sourcing their ingredients from China. All of them are sourced in the United States, both compounding and the raw materials. And the ingredient suppliers, as well as the pharmacy itself, is FDA inspected. They are also potency verified, and they have independent lab testing for safety, purity, and potency. And they are triple and quadruple filtered for contaminants. Again, these black market, gray market sites that people end up buying these from, many of them have absolutely no efficacy. They don't even have in them what they claim to have in them, and they are not properly filtered. The pharmacy is also accredited by the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, which is actually voluntary. So you can feel good about where these are coming from. They also, you don't have to worry about these reconstituted vials. So if they are ordering an injectable, it actually comes already prepared and ready to use. So they don't have to do this at-home mixing. As I mentioned, these are pharmaceutical grade, not research grade, and they are compliant because there is physician oversight. Essentially, the way that the process works, as a brand partner with LEMD, and believe it or not, I'm going to get to this, but it's only $79 one-time fee to be a brand partner. So in terms of overhead, it is almost zero. You get a referral link. So your referral link could be lemd.com/MetPro, for example. So you will get a custom link, and this is where people can go in and they can create a free customer account. So they don't have to put their credit card number in. They're not signing up for a membership. There's no hidden agenda here. They just sign up for a free account, which makes them your lead. They can choose the products. Now, many times, right, you're having the conversation with that patient. So that patient is me, middle-aged woman, got, 20 pounds to get rid of, not sleeping well, doesn't have the energy that I had before. And you might say, you know what, Lori, based on everything that we talked about today, I think that the microdosing is something that really closely aligns with some of your goals. You also may want to look at NAD as well as, let's say, BPC 157. And we offer a medically supervised ship to home peptide program. Here's the link to look at those products. You just aren't going to say, I'm prescribing you this peptide. That's where you've got to take the prescriber hat off, because what happens next is the provider with LEMD and that person's state is going to review that patient's health intake form. So when the patient chooses the products, a HIPAA protected health form comes up. And this is where they've got to enter some information, their height, their weight, a little bit about their medical history, why they want to take this specific peptide. And then there's obviously some questions around potential contraindications. Once they fill that form out, the LEMD doctor is going to review it. they're not actually meeting with your patient. So again, you are keeping the client/patient relationship. The LEMD provider is simply approving or denying the peptide based on that person's health assessment form. The peptide then is approved. For the most part, there usually aren't many contraindications. I have had a couple of folks. I had one person that had like severe GERD and they didn't get approved. And then some of the other peptides, like if you have active cancer, you're not going to take BPC 157, for example. But 99% of the time, there's no issues. That patient will have the peptide shipped directly to them. As Abby and Jason mentioned, usually within a matter of a few days. And they have 24/7 messaging support with the provider. So if they have questions about, how do I do an injection, or what happens if my stomach gets a little bit sick, or, this isn't working, I feel like I'm not getting results, they can message the doctor directly, unlimited number of times, and they have that support. So again, that eliminates you having to deal with all of the questions. They can contact the doctor directly through the portal. The compensation is a sliding scale. So it is based on the volume of peptides that go through your business. So it's not a dollar for dollar point value. So PV means point value. But they do take off a little bit of like overhead costs. So for example, the cost of the prescriber. But a GLP-1 that's $299 is 220 points, and you are making a 20% commission on that 220. And then that goes up based on your volume. So like a little over 2 GLP-1 patients, you're already at a 25% commission. As a wellness business owner, getting to 5,000 points is really not that hard. And this is where you're making a 40% commission. They do also have a referral program. Some people use the referral program, other people don't. This is essentially, let's say you went to medical school with somebody and they own a med spa in another state, and you're like, hey, you know what? This might be something to tell my friend. If they end up signing up to offer peptides through LEMD, you actually do get a small override on all of the orders that go through their business, because you do have to do a few things to get them started, like connect them to myself and Kristen so that we can get them onboarded. Just to give you an example, this is just, again, only an example, but 10 GLP-1 customers, if you had 10 patients per month, you're looking at adding about $68,000 in revenue per year to your business. And again, this is just a GLP-1. Many patients like me, I take 4 different peptides. So this just, again, gives you an example of if you had 20 customers a month or 50 customers a month. I have a couple of clinics that had a previous weight loss program. They switched 300 people over to LEMD, and they're making much more margin than what they were doing when they were sourcing it all themselves. The cost to be a brand partner is $79. So it's a one-time $79 fee. There are no minimums or quotas or anything like that. The only ongoing fee is an $8 a month tech fee, and that's just for your link for people to be able to order peptides from you. So you get your own personal link. Again, we kind of talked about the commissions. You don't have to manage any inventory. If you have patients that maybe you're currently offering the GLPs and they come in and they get their shot, the peptides are just going to be shipped to them directly. They could still come in and you could still do their shots if you want. So again, this doesn't have to replace what you're doing. It can be just a complement to what you're already doing. The other thing is they do have a lot of additional business resources. So you get a dedicated onboarding person at corporate. You also get to work directly with me and my team at Medical Marketing Wiz. So again, the benefit here is you actually have a marketing team that has done this at over 300 clinics so far. And we have email, text series, we have patient education presentations, we do patient education webinars. There are front desk talking scripts. So there's a plug and play marketing partnership that you get. The LEMD Hub also has Canva templates. And again, kind of depending on what sort of business you have, there's a lot of scripts in there. They also have a whole section for licensed physicians that talk about compliance and things like that. And essentially what you do when you sign up is you'll get your URL. So you'll do lemd.com/whatever you want it to be. And that literally will be live within 5 minutes. So you can start getting orders immediately. And then I always tell folks, like, place an order from yourself as well. It is important just for you to sort of understand the patient journey. The patients will have questions at the beginning about the order process. So if you haven't gone through the order process, you're not going to know how to answer those questions. So it's a good idea to just go in and kind of go through that, understand what the health assessment questions are going to be. What does that shipping process look like? What does that portal look like to be able to message the provider? So just placing an order from yourself is a good place to start. And then at Medical Marketing Wiz, what we will do is we'll actually meet with you. We can connect the peptides to your website. So you could have a button. You also could have a drop down in your menu. Again, this is the benefit of the search engine optimization piece of this because peptides are such a hot search topic. Connecting that URL to your existing website is also going to drive more traffic to your website. So that's something me and my team will meet. There's no charge for that or anything like that. We'll do that for you. And then we also have webinars that we do usually every week, every other week. And it's something we could also do specifically for your client. So Jason and Abby at Meditech, we're actually in the fall going to do an actual wellness event at their office where they're going to show everything that they do with the DEXA and the RMR and the VO2 max. And we're going to be also talking about peptides. So that's also something that you get our support, whether you want to do it as an online webinar or you want to do it as an event. We're here to support you for that. Also, as I mentioned, you get access to some other perks. So I actually speak at many medical conferences, as do Kristen and Tony. For example, the Age Management Medical Group meeting. That meeting has a peptide certification course twice a year. So if you want to be certified in peptides, we actually get discount codes that we can share with you if you want to go and enhance your understanding of peptides and go get certified. We share those sort of certification codes for you as well. And you also get a copy of my book that's on Amazon. So essentially, as I mentioned, it's a one-time fee. This can be a great bridge. Also, I've said to folks, like, let's say you're going to go get certified in peptides at the end of the year and you want to be able, you're going to source your own then. This can even be a bridge until then. So it's a great way to get into the game without having that overhead liability. As I mentioned, there's no minimums, and we really walk you through step by step what it looks like to get started and give you all of the materials to be successful. So the QR code here actually will take you right to the sign up page if you want to get started. And then we will meet with you this week, even coming up, and kind of walk you through all of the things that you need to do to get started. I'm going to hand it over to Kristen real quick here because you guys have something new and cool that I know you have for everybody as well.
Yeah, and thanks, Lori. You did an awesome job. And so what I've put on here too is for anyone who's attended, even if you have a DEXA, we have learned very rapidly that everyone wants that constant feedback. We've been taught by Apple that, in Garmin, that if we've done 2 days of eating healthy and taking GLP-1s, we want that constant feedback. We want that. And so what we did recently was launch the body fat scale that's at home that connects to our app. So people can come in, have their DEXA scan, have their DEXA results in the app, and then take home a body composition scale that is a BIA device, and they can be measuring as they're taking their GLP-1s. And that data also reports back into the app, into the provider portal, and you can communicate directly with the patient regarding their GLP-1 journey. They can tell you how they're feeling. You could maybe make some suggestions, things that they could also do if they're having some issues. And so, just to launch this off for anyone who signs up, we're offering $50 off the scale so that you can check it out and see everything is set up on the portal as well.
$199 is such a good price.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is. And the provider portal is really, really cool.
Very cool. So yeah, take her up on that because that's, to me, is a no-brainer. So this also has the information Tom had mentioned about MetPro if you're interested in exploring the partnership with them with the nutrition model, as well as being an LEMD brand partner. We're just really excited about the growth of peptides and expanding offerings through DEXA, as well as here at Medical Marketing Wiz, really just to help you guys reach more patients because there are patients that need what you offer. and the competition is it's up there. So anything we can do to help differentiate you and bring more patients to your clinic, that's what we're here to support. So thank
Hearing
you so much.
success stories. Yeah.
Yeah,
So thank you, Lori and Tom and Abby and Jason. You guys did an awesome job. I hope
well,
that
great. Well,
yeah,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Thank
everyone.
you.
all right. Thanks everybody, and we look forward to meeting with you.
Take care.